It was supposed to be a simple road trip. Maria, Jason, and Emily were three friends chasing adventure on the open road. They were miles from civilization when their car's GPS flickered, pointing them toward a detour. Silent Town? The screen read, though none of them had heard of it. Let's check it out, Jason suggested, always eager for the unusual. Maria hesitated, her gut telling her this wasn't a good idea. Emily stayed quiet, her unease mirroring Maria's, but Jason's enthusiasm won out, as it always did. As they entered Silent Town, the first thing they noticed was the eerie stillness. The streets were perfectly maintained, the shop windows clean, but not a single person was inside. No cars, no voices, no signs of life. It was as if time had simply stopped. "This is us creepy," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible. Jason laughed nervously. "Maybe it's a ghost town. You know, one of those tourist attractions?" Maria's eyes darted around. "If it's a tourist spot, where are the tourists?" They parked the car and stepped out cautiously. The silence was oppressive, like a weight pressing down on them. A diner sat at the corner of the main street, its neon sign flickering. Without a word, they headed inside, drawn by the faint hope of finding someone who could explain the town's strange emptiness. The doorbell jingled as they entered, but no one greeted them. Plates of food sat untouched on the table, steam still rising from coffee cups. A jukebox in the corner hummed with static. "Hello?" Maria called out. Her voice echoed faintly before being swallowed by the silence. Emily tugged at her sleeve. "We should go." "This isn't right." Jason shook his head. "Come on, it's just weird, not dangerous." But then, a shadow flickered in the corner of Emily's eye. She turned sharply, but nothing was there. Her heart pounded. "Did you see that?" "See what?" Jason asked, his bravado faltering. "I don't think we're alone," Maria said, her voice tight. They stepped back onto the street. A figure stood at the end of the road. It was a man, his back turned to them, completely still. "Hey!" Jason shouted. "What's going on here?" The man didn't respond. He didn't move. Maria grabbed Jason's arm. "Don't." Ignoring her, Jason took a step forward. "Excuse me." The man's head snapped around, his face pale and eyes hollow. His mouth opened as if to scream, but no sound came out. Instead, a low, humming vibration filled the air, rattling their bones. "Run!" Maria screamed. They bolted, weaving through the narrow streets, the silence now replaced by that haunting hum. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision, figures appearing and disappearing as they ran. Their footsteps echoed unnaturally, like the town itself was amplifying their fear. They found refuge in an old library, slamming the heavy doors behind them. The hum stopped, replaced by an unsettling stillness. Emily was crying. "What is this place?" Maria scanned the room, her mind racing. "It's like the town is alive." Jason paced, his bravado completely gone. "We need to get out of here." Maria's eyes landed on a dusty book lying open on a desk. The pages were filled with strange symbols and a single line in English. "The silence is eternal." "What does that mean?" Emily asked, her voice trembling. Before Maria could answer, the library's lights flickered. The doors creaked open, though no one had touched them. The hum returned, louder this time, as figures began to emerge from the darkness outside. They weren't human anymore, twisted, distorted shapes, moving unnaturally. Maria grabbed Emily's hand. "We can't stay here." They ran again, the town warping around. Streets didn't lead where they should. Doors opened into endless hallways. The figures closed in, their silent presence more terrifying than any scream. Finally, they stumbled into the clock tower at the center of town. Inside, the massive clock's hands spun wildly, the mechanism groaning under the strain. "The clock!" Maria shouted. "It's the heart of this place." Jason found a heavy iron bar and swung it at the key. The clock resisted, its hands spinning faster, the hum reaching a deafening pitch. Maria and Emily joined in, throwing their weight against the machinery. With a final shuddering crash, the clock stopped. The hum ceased. The figures froze, then disintegrated into ash. The town itself seemed to sigh, the oppressive atmosphere lifting. They found themselves back on the main road, the car just as they'd left it. The town was gone, replaced by an empty field. "Was it real?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Maria looked at the empty horizon. "I don't know." Jason started the car in silence. As they drove away, the radio crackled. A distorted voice whispered, "You escaped this time, but silence always finds a way." The screen fades to black.